This girl is eating a bite of ice cream, and the little girl at the table opposite her starts eating too. The woman seems amused, and the little girl playfully jokes back. But right after that, the woman puts down her spoon, revealing a sinister smile. She wipes a bloodstain off her watch, walks over to the little girl, and with a shove, knocks the girl's bowl of ice cream to the ground. Her name is Villanelle. She's a top-notch assassin. Every day, she has to take out 10 people. She's got a fiery, quirky personality. She sees an old lady going down the stairs slower than a turtle and just wants to throw her hands up and yell at her. Villanelle is super cocky. It doesn't matter if you're old, young, a guy, or a girl. She doesn't care who you are. Even when she gets home, Villanelle isn't relaxing. She grabs some makeup remover, makes herself look paler than usual, pours some poison on the table, grabs a bottle of hard liquor, and then sprawls out on the sofa, looking like she just killed herself. When her boss shows up to give her an assassination assignment, he walks in and sees the scene. Even Constantine is shocked, and he rushes over to check on her. Wow! She even dares to prank her boss. Sooner or later, that's gonna get her into trouble. She gets her bonus and the target she needs to take out, so she starts digging up info. Villanelle quickly finds out what the guy looks like and where he lives. She's all business, hopping on her motorcycle and hitting the road right away. This time, she's not planning on using any guns or anything, just a poison pin hidden in her hair. While the guard's not paying attention, Villanelle tiptoes over to the wall. She grabs a drain pipe and climbs up. Once inside, Villanelle realizes the place is empty. She goes out to investigate and finds out the old guy is having a party with friends outside. Villanelle smirks. Seeing her target is like seeing a walking ATM. She heads into a room and opens up the closet, looking for a dress to blend in. But just then, she hears the footsteps of a guard on patrol. He notices a closet that was closed before is now wide open, so he goes in to check it out, but he can't find anyone anywhere. He thinks he's just imagining things. Little does he know that Villanelle is hiding in a suitcase. She changes into a new outfit and blends into the crowd. Just as she's about to get close to Greco to take him out, she sees him bullying his grandson. "Don't run off. Let's play a little longer." The kid snaps. "Play my ass," storming off into the house. Villanelle spots a safer opportunity for the hit. She follows the boy inside, tricking him into calling his grandpa there. "Grandpa, there's this really pretty lady here, and she wants to see you." Hearing the words "pretty lady," the old guy perks right up. "Hold on, I'm coming right up." Seeing that Greco's taking the bait, Villanelle locks the kid in the bathroom. As soon as Greco walks in, he's captivated by Villanelle's beauty. He completely forgets what he was doing and about his grandson. Greco can't take his eyes off Villanelle. Villanelle makes an excuse to close the door. While the old guy is checking things out, Villanelle secretly pulls out the hairpin and stabs him right in the eye. She injects the poison and Greco drops dead instantly. After the job, Villanelle gets back home. Constantine shows up to tell her some bad news. One of the targets she supposedly took out is still alive, in the hospital right now getting emergency treatment, and this person knows what Villanelle looks like. So, Villanelle has to take her out before she can spill the beans to the cops. Right then, Eve, a police officer, arrives at the hospital. She's getting ready to ask the victim about the attacker's appearance, but the doctor tells Eve the patient's still in a coma and she'll have to wait outside. While she's waiting, Eve goes to the bathroom to fix her hair. Wouldn't you know it, she bumps into Villanelle, who's pretending to be a doctor to sneak into the hospital. Luckily, Eve has no idea she's the assassin, and Villanelle has no clue Eve's a cop. When Villanelle was leaving, she mocked Eve, saying her hair looked bad. When Eve came out of the bathroom, everyone in the hospital room was dead, and the only witness had their throat cut. After finishing her business, Villanelle returned home and received another assassination assignment. You've never seen an assassin like Villanelle. One second she's like a princess, and the next she's transformed into a super cool killer. The way she eliminates people is also very unique. First, she makes her target feel incredibly oppressed. Then they can't help but attack her. She has a gun, but she doesn't shoot, just toys around. The guy's curious, asking why Villanelle is trying to kill him. Villanelle gives a very reasonable explanation. "Beats me." Then she fires 2 shots, finishing him off. Usually, other assassins would scram from the scene, but not Villanelle. After she's done playing, she just chills right there, even thinking about what to have for a late-night snack. The next morning, as soon as Villanelle gets home, she sees Sebastian rummaging through the trash. He's embarrassed and explains that he accidentally threw something away yesterday and has to find it, but Villanelle doesn't buy it. Just looking at Sebastian's gear, you can tell he does this often. Villanelle doesn't even bother with him and just walks away because she's busy dealing with her next target. This time, she decides not to bring a gun in, simply because she can't. She uses all kinds of chemicals to make a poisonous perfume. Then, Villanelle disguises herself as a server to sneak into the party. Once inside, she goes around pouring wine for the guests, but she's watching the target's every move. Finally, she gets her chance when Catlear goes to the restroom, but little does Catlear know that Villanelle follows her. Just then, the manager stops her, saying that servers aren't allowed in the VIP guest restrooms. Villanelle lies, saying she's bringing cotton swabs for the guest. The manager, seeing this, doesn't say anything further and lets her in. She meets Catlear and starts promoting her perfume. And Catlear, being an investor, doesn't want to miss out on good products. Catlear opens the perfume to try it. As soon as she opens it, Villanelle jumps back, startled. Seeing Catlear spray it on her hand and sniff it, Villanelle almost bursts out laughing. Catlear quickly starts feeling dizzy and has trouble breathing. She tells Villanelle to call an ambulance, but Villanelle just watches her struggle with a look of enjoyment, because this is one of her favorite ways to take someone out. It's then that Catlear realizes she's been poisoned. As she falls to the ground, Villanelle, clearly not satisfied, bends down and taunts her, "Bye-bye now." After the mission, Villanelle comes home to find Constantine pinning her against the wall. There was a mission that required a fake suicide, but Villanelle wiped out the doctors and police at the hospital. Before the two can finish their conversation, Sebastian arrives. The situation is super awkward, and Villanelle hastily explains that he's her brother. Sebastian, whether he believes it or not, has to go along with it and quickly steps forward to shake hands. Afterward, Villanelle tells Sebastian to leave. Right then, he notices a bottle of unused perfume in the trash, thinking it's a waste, and takes it home with him. The two in the room quickly heard a commotion outside the door. Opening it, they found Sebastian dead, having inhaled Villanelle's perfume. But instead of being upset, she simply said good riddance, because she never really liked him that much anyway. Then, Constantine told Villanelle that since the hospital incident, a police officer named Eve had been investigating her. That night, Villanelle researched Eve and was shocked to realize Eve was a woman she'd met in the hospital bathroom. Villanelle decided to secretly eliminate Eve behind Constantine's back during her next assignment. Who knew a small clinic could offer this kind of service? It's not surgery or treatment, but it can supposedly cure diseases. Zhang Gu, a Chinese official, wants to try it out. He's a regular at this clinic, but he doesn't know the doctor is an assassin. She also has a special quirk, tying up her victims before the surgery. Zhang, completely unaware, is all smiles. Villanelle looks at the prescription. He bought the 8-minute massage package. Everything's ready, and Villanelle picks up a pair of tongs and snips off his most prized possession. Still not satisfied, Villanelle cranks up the pressure to the max, poisoning him. She even turns his head, watching him die with a look of enjoyment. Eve and her colleague quickly arrive at the scene. To make the investigation easier, they brought their luggage along. Villanelle is watching them from nearby. Just then, Eve gets a call, and after hanging up, she can't find her suitcase. Of course, it was stolen by Villanelle. Looking at the ugly, outdated clothes in the suitcase, Villanelle almost throws up the pastry she's eating. Rummaging through the whole suitcase, there's only one decent-looking green scarf. Since Eve lost her luggage, she has to go buy some new clothes, but after trying on a bunch, she doesn't like any of them. She's about to call the staff when she sees a discounted outfit hanging nearby. Eve, without a second thought, puts it on, not knowing that Villanelle left it there. Villanelle also conveniently planted a listening device on it. From their conversation, Villanelle learns that Eve is heading to the subway station to meet someone. Villanelle times it and follows her. Right then, the train arrives at the station. Seeing Eve get on, Villanelle smiles and boards too, only to be stopped by Bill, Eve's colleague. Turns out, Bill noticed Villanelle wearing a scarf similar to Eve's. Villanelle lies, saying she bought it at a nearby night market and then walks away. Bill, lacking evidence, has no choice but to tail Villanelle closely. And Villanelle also senses she's being followed, so she leads him straight to a club. Once they reach the crowded dance floor, Villanelle turns around with an evil grin and then lunges at Bill. It's only then that he realizes he's been tricked, but by then, it's too late. Eve gets the news and rushes over, only to collect a corpse. With Bill dead, Eve cries for 3 days and 3 nights. At the same time, her luggage is delivered to her by express mail, sent by Villanelle. She opens it to find a bunch of clothes from famous brands, and even a bottle of expensive perfume. The note left inside makes Eve's jaw drop. Sorry, baby. Villanelle likes Eve, because Villanelle didn't follow Constantine's plan, acted on her own, and even killed a cop. She lost Constantine's trust. He revoked her privilege of working alone, and then gave her the address for her next mission. She has to go to England to assassinate an official. Diego, who picks up Villanelle at the train station, is the team leader for this mission. As soon as Villanelle gets in the car, she looks in the mirror and realizes the person in the back seat is her ex-girlfriend. Your hair's gotten longer, hasn't it? The two look at each other in surprise and then start fighting. Nadia still resents Villanelle because Villanelle was the one who dumped her. Luckily, Diego stops them in time. Now, Nadia is dating Diego, and he still doesn't know that Nadia is Villanelle's ex. They quickly arrive at the official's house. For safety's sake, they split up. Diego goes to the back door to prevent Frank from escaping, while Nadia and Villanelle enter through the front door. Frank's mom was shocked to see 2 pretty girls come to visit her son. She thought Frank was out partying and messing around. The girls quickly explained that they were Frank's co-workers. His mom then breathed a sigh of relief and invited them inside for some drinks and snacks. She also quickly called Frank to come home right away. If she knew these girls were there to kill her son, she would be so regretful. When Frank got home, he felt something was off and immediately drove a different way. The 3 of them jumped in their car and chased after him. On the road, Nadia held her M14 and fired shots at Frank's car. Bullet casings rained down on Villanelle's head. The rear window of Frank's car shattered. Diego saw this and clapped for Nadia. This pissed Villanelle off, making her lose focus and drive the wrong way. They turned around to chase after Frank, but they saw his car parked on the side of the road. Villanelle got out, but Diego called her back. Diego said he was the team leader, and she had to listen to him. Villanelle had been holding back all this time, but now she was furious and wanted to give Diego a bullet. Diego went to check, and he realized Frank was gone from the car. He had no idea Frank was hiding in the bushes nearby. Frank called Eve to save him. The 3 of them had lost their target and were clueless about what to do next. Villanelle just asked, "What are we going to do now?" with a threat. "Talk too much and I'll shoot you." Villanelle scoffed. "You think you're in charge?" The 3 incredibly skilled assassins had failed on their very first mission together, each one frustrated and arguing loudly. And as they argued, their actions became completely reversed. Diego and Villanelle are pointing guns at each other. Nadia, Diego's girlfriend, is also pointing a gun at Villanelle. Diego overhears them talking and finds out that Nadia used to be in love with Villanelle. They have a type. Villanelle is outnumbered and starts explaining to Nadia. She says she didn't mean to hurt Nadia before, and that if Nadia leaves Diego, they can get back together. Diego gets furious and raises his gun to shoot Villanelle. Suddenly, Nadia says she'll shoot Villanelle instead. Diego trusts her and slowly lowers his gun. But then, Nadia turns the gun on Diego. Her true love is still Villanelle. Villanelle turns around and pulls Nadia into a hug. She says they're going to run away now, wherever Nadia wants to go. Nadia is excited, but when she steps out from behind cover and lowers her gun, Villanelle flashes her usual wicked smile. She's still as ruthless as ever, but the car won't start. Frank has been hiding in the bushes for half an hour. Seeing his chance, he looks out and realizes it's now or never. Villanelle sees him at that exact moment. She realizes her target has been hiding in the bushes all along. As a top assassin, letting her prey escape right in front of her is humiliating. She grabs her gun and chases after him. But after a few kilometers of pursuit, Eve arrives and takes Frank away, escaping Villanelle's clutches. But right after that, Eve does something that shocks both of them. She pulls the car over. Because of what happened before, Eve is sure Villanelle is into her. To test it out, Eve bravely walks towards Villanelle. As expected, Villanelle doesn't shoot. Instead, she points the gun at Eve, just wanting to see how she'll react. Then, Villanelle kisses the gun, expressing her affection, before firing a shot toward Eve and disappearing. Eve takes Frank to a safe place and has a dozen bodyguards guard him. All the windows are locked tight, but it won't make a difference. Frank is going to have the most gruesome death imaginable. That night, Eve goes home, clearly shaken by Villanelle's actions earlier. She opens her suitcase and puts on the designer clothes Villanelle gave her. She drinks vodka straight from the bottle and reads through all the files she has on Villanelle. Suddenly, she hears footsteps outside her room. As she opens the door, it's Villanelle. Don't run. Eve tries to open the window to scream for help, but it won't budge. She searches the bathroom for a weapon, but can't find anything suitable. Villanelle kicks the door in, and Eve grabs a toilet brush, pointing it at Villanelle's face. Don't scream. I'm not going to hurt you. Villanelle pushes Eve into the bathtub. She said it 80 times already. She's not there to kill Eve, but Eve keeps screaming. Stop screaming. I just want to have dinner with you. After all the commotion, it turns out Villanelle just came for dinner. As Eve grabs utensils, she secretly slips a knife into her waistband, but Villanelle, who's behind her, sees it. To make Eve feel safe, Villanelle agrees to let her put the knife on the table. As they talk, Villanelle holds Eve's hand affectionately. Eve gets so angry that she raises the knife to fight back, but Villanelle overpowers her instantly. She snatches the knife, holds it to Eve's throat, and takes her phone, asking for her password. Eve is still confused, not knowing what Villanelle is planning. It's only when Villanelle leaves and thanks Eve that Eve realizes Villanelle took her phone to find Frank's location. In the middle of the night, Frank is brushing his teeth when he looks up and yells, "Oh my God, help me!" After letting Frank escape last time. This time he's going to die, no matter how many lives he has. But before killing Frank, Villanelle wants to play a game with him. Frank trembles in fear. Okay. Villanelle leads Frank into a room. As soon as they enter, Frank, without thinking, grabs a chair to attack Villanelle. She instantly jumps on him, grabs his shirt and slaps him. Don't make me mad. You can imagine what happens next. When Eve got there, Frank was lying on the bed dead. He'd been tortured and his genitals had been cut off. The next day, Villanelle is frying sausages at home, even inviting Constantine over to cook with her. It's unclear if there's sausages anymore. Constantine asks why all her colleagues who work with her have died. Villanelle lies, but she can't fool Constantine. Nadia wasn't killed in a car accident. She's in prison. She knows too much, and Constantine is afraid Nadia will reveal something. So he sends Villanelle to prison to deal with her. As soon as she enters prison, Villanelle slaps a guard. The other guards see this and beat her mercilessly until she can't even lift her head. While others would be obedient, Villanelle is different. The more they mistreat her, the more she finds ways to taunt them. You're full of tricks, aren't you? The guards punish her by making her clean the toilets. Don't think for a second that she's helpless just because she's in prison. She's a highly skilled assassin, and she's here to eliminate her ex-girlfriend. While cleaning the drains, Villanelle befriends a violent inmate. When it's time for fresh air, Villanelle lets her beat her up. The harder she hits, the happier Villanelle seems, leaving everyone else bewildered. Villanelle does this to get into the infirmary, where the doctor is someone she knows. The doctor gives her a small knife and tells her Nadia's cell location. During mealtime, Villanelle approaches Nadia and pulls out the hidden knife. But just then, her cellmate starts teasing Villanelle. Villanelle warns her, but she ignores her and even makes the knife fall to the ground. Don't pick it up, she clutching the knife tightly and refusing to give it to Villanelle. When it's Villanelle's turn to get food, Nadia realizes what's happening and backs away in fear. Nadia knows Villanelle is there to kill her. Because her cellmate took the knife, Villanelle can't kill Nadia right away. Instead, she causes chaos in the dining hall. Villanelle saw her chance. She grabbed a head of cabbage, and hurled it at her cellmate, trying to provoke her. As her cellmate lunged, Villanelle used her to shield herself, taking down the guard. While the guard was distracted, Villanelle snatched back her knife. Another guard rushed in, and everyone assumed her cellmate had stabbed the guard. As the guard tried to calm her down, Villanelle silently stabbed her from behind, taking her out. She grabbed a bunch of keys and, while the guards were busy dealing with the other inmates, she made a beeline for Nadia's cell. A guard quickly noticed blood seeping from under the cell door. When they opened it, Villanelle had already finished off Nadia. Both she and her cellmate were taken to court. The ride was uneventful. Their transport van was ambushed and the driver was eliminated. One of the guards in the van opened fire on the remaining guard, who turned out to be a spy sent by Villanelle's organization. She was then taken to a construction site, where Villanelle met Vladimir, her new handler assigned by the organization. After the introductions, he handed her a mission card, but this time, the target was a tough one, Konstantin, her former handler. Not only that, but Vladimir was even more demanding than Konstantin. He didn't realize his constant bragging was seriously ticking Villanelle off. So, Villanelle took out her boss. Seems like Vladimir didn't do his homework on Villanelle's personality before taking the job. Then Villanelle went to Konstantin's house. Since they'd worked together for years, Villanelle gave him the option to kill himself. Konstantin knew the organization had ordered his death. He had no powerful protection, no way out. He said nothing, just took the poison and drank it all down without a word. But then Konstantin smashed a glass on Villanelle's head, knocking her out cold. She barely managed to get back on her feet. If Konstantin had hit her any harder, Villanelle would probably be dead. As Villanelle gave chase, Konstantin sped away in his speedboat, flipping her the bird. Even though Konstantin got away, his daughter was still there. "I'm gonna skin that girl," the ruthless assassin snarled, kidnapping the little girl like a machine gun firing off threats. Now Villanelle is regretting it. Shut up. The kid's chatter is worse than a swarm of flies buzzing in her ears. But Villanelle can't kill her. She's her only leverage. They're bickering. Now, the girl saying Villanelle can't yell at her, while Villanelle insists otherwise. The kid even wants to kill Villanelle and tells her to go die. "How do I get you to shut up? You what was it?" The little girl repeated, "Food, I'm hungry." To get some peace, Villanelle buys her a hamburger to stuff in her mouth. Then they start talking in Mandarin. "Mandarin, huh? I don't understand a word," the little girl says. "I want to take it home." Surprisingly, the little girl's pronunciation is better than Villanelle's. Villanelle can only manage, "Shut up, I'm learning." After that, they head to their meeting place. To save his daughter, Konstantin shows up, but surprisingly Eve's with him. Facing the organization's pursuit, only Eve can guarantee his safety. Seeing this, Villanelle puts a gun to the girl's head. They quickly shove money and passports into her hand, begging her to let the kid go. But Villanelle isn't just there for the passport. She let Konstantin escape once. This time he's got 7 lives and he's still going down. With that, she fires. Villanelle's about to fire again when Eve stops her. They face off for a bit before Villanelle backs down. When Villanelle gets home, Eve's already there, hiding inside. Turns out, Eve found Villanelle's place earlier. Once inside, she starts trashing the apartment, leaving it a complete mess. Eve both loves and hates Villanelle. Then they start talking, both developing feelings for the other. After that, they cut to the chase. Villanelle doesn't wait. She makes a move, but then Eve presses a knife to Villanelle's stomach. Villanelle thinks she's bluffing, but then Eve does it. A moment later, she regrets it. Just as Villanelle is about to tell her not to pull the knife out, Eve blankly pulls it away. Now there's a geyser of blood. Eve rushes to find something to stop the bleeding. Villanelle rolls off the bed and grabs her gun, shooting at Eve. Eve's too scared to approach. "What are you doing?" When things quiet down, Eve approaches and realizes Villanelle is gone, leaving only a neighbor standing at the door. Eve quickly follows the trail of blood, but as she goes downstairs, she runs into 3 rough-looking guys who don't look friendly. Realizing the situation is bad, she turns back and hides. When the 3 guys go upstairs, she sneaks out. A few steps later, she sees a neighbor shot in the head. Turns out, Those guys were after Villanelle. She's lucky to have gotten away. Otherwise, she wouldn't be going home tonight. Severely wounded, Villanelle hides behind a wall railing. She's running, bleeding heavily, and losing too much blood to keep going. She finds a homeless person's sleeping spot and sees a half-full bottle of liquor. Villanelle grabs it, taking a swig to dull the pain. She even pours some on her wound to disinfect it. Anyone who's used alcohol to clean a wound knows that's not a pain just anyone can handle. Finally, she takes the homeless person's jacket. I wonder if that homeless guy will pass out when he wakes up. Villanelle reached the street and tried to flag down a cab to take her to the hospital. Cars was passed, none stopping, making Villanelle anxious. At this rate, she might not even need the hospital. An older model car approaches, and Villanelle jumps in front of it to stop it. She's then driven right to the hospital entrance and dropped off in the perfect spot. When Villanelle wakes up, the doctor stitches her wound, and there's a young boy. Next to her, also a car accident victim. They chat for a while, and Villanelle decides to take him on as her protege. To get out of the hospital sooner, she told the kid on crutches to steal some stuff for her. To her surprise, he came back with it in just 2 minutes. This kid wasn't a newbie. Villanelle changed into the stolen clothes, disguising herself as a doctor. Then she went to the medicine room and got the drugs she needed. As she was leaving, she spotted a purse on the nearby patient's bedside table. The patient was unconscious, so she snuck in and searched for valuables. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Quickly, Villanelle grabbed a patient chart and pretended to be examining the patient. It turned out to be the patient's family. The family members started asking Villanelle questions about the patient's condition. Without hesitation, Villanelle said the patient was showing good improvement. But looking at the patient's face, he was probably checking out soon. The family was overjoyed at the good news and hugged Villanelle, completely unaware that their wallet had been stolen. Now Villanelle had the money and the medicine. She could leave the hospital immediately, but before she went, she had one more thing to do. She just recruited this kid and then snapped his neck. Villanelle showed no remorse and she seemed pleased. It was strange, but somehow it made her happy. Then Villanelle hobbled out of the hospital. Having nowhere to go, she ended up crashing at a laundromat in exchange for doing laundry. The owner told Villanelle to get the laundry done and then get lost. She'd been staying there for days. But as Villanelle was about to leave, she realized everything in her bag had been stolen. Villanelle angrily scolded the laundromat owner for not keeping an eye on her things. But the owner just pointed upwards, saying it was her responsibility to secure her belongings. Villanelle gave a forced laugh, annoyed, and gathered her things. As she was leaving, she mischievously dumped a container of laundry detergent. She was still her untrustworthy self. But this was just a basic move. Villanelle went to a supermarket, not to shop of course. Her money was gone, and she was homeless. Now she needed to find a single guy to leech off of. Villanelle scanned the area, looking for a target. She quickly spotted a middle-aged man and, grinning, was about to approach him when she noticed his wife standing right next to him. What else could she possibly do? Guess she stuck leeching off others. Then, she spotted a kind-looking old man. Villanelle smirked. She knew she had him today. When he reached the checkout, she walked up, grabbed his hand, and begged him to take her out of the supermarket. She played the victim, claiming the guy sitting by the front door was her stepfather, abusive and violent. The old man saw the bruises on her face and believed her. He drove her to his car. After some small talk, he started hinting that he had a spare room and that she could stay for a few days. He'd been single for 40 years. It was hard to find someone to talk to. That night, Villanelle tricked Julian into buying her some anti-inflammatory medication. The wound on her stomach was starting to get worse, and she'd lost the stash she had in her bag at the laundromat. Villanelle didn't want Julian to know she was injured, so she lied and told him she had a sore throat. Little did she know, Julian was a real cheapskate. He just told her to drink lots of warm water and rest. That night, while Villanelle was sleeping, she heard a strange noise outside her door. She grabbed her weapon and went to investigate. She walked around and saw Julian sleeping soundly. It couldn't have been him making the noise. When Villanelle opened the door to another room, she heard, "Stop. That's my mother." It turned out Julian's elderly mother, who had dementia, was sleepwalking. To prevent her from wandering off, Julian had been keeping her locked in a room all day. That morning, Villanelle and the old woman were watching TV in the living room when suddenly, the woman said to Villanelle, "You need to watch out for Julian." Villanelle was confused. Why would she say that? Before Villanelle could ask, the woman's dementia flared up again. Villanelle has a bad feeling. She tried to open the window, but it wouldn't budge. The front door was locked from the outside, and even the bathroom window was barred. Something was wrong. Villanelle quickly used a sanitary pad to cover her wound. Once that was taken care of, she went to the kitchen to find a kitchen knife for protection. Just then, Julian walked back in. "What are you doing?" "I'm looking for a knife," Villanelle said, sounding completely sincere. She was going to use it on him. To Villanelle's surprise, Julian had anticipated this. He'd hidden all the sharp objects. As soon as Julian left, Villanelle quickly called for help, but no one answered. Just then, Julian came back. Villanelle panicked and didn't put the phone back in its place. Julian saw it and ripped the charging cable out. He was creepy and said to Villanelle, "Don't even think about leaving here, unless you give me something in return." Villanelle was furious. She'd never been so humiliated. She lost her temper and punched him. If she hadn't been worried about getting hurt, she would have torn him apart. Villanelle had the upper hand for a moment, squeezing Julian's throat, but then he punched her in the wound. Villanelle screamed in pain and rolled to the floor. Julian took control, grabbing her by the throat and squeezing. She felt like she couldn't breathe. In a desperate move, Villanelle grabbed a decorative object nearby and smashed it into Julian's head. Before he could recover, she bolted for the door. But Julian was right behind her. This time, it was over. He pinned her down, but Villanelle wasn't going down without a fight. She was a top assassin after all. She shoved back hard, sending him crashing into the wall, then swayed left and right to break free from Julian's grip. Villanelle grabbed a metal rod and jammed it straight into his neck. "That's for you, Julian." Seconds later, he was dead. Villanelle ran out of the house and across the street. She saw a car with flashing lights signaling to her. Curious, she approached. Turns out, the 12 tracked her phone call and followed her here. Inside was Raymond, her new handler sent by the organization.